see. Are we on? Looks like we may be on. Let's try this refreshing one more time. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Just another fun-filled day. Looks like they're bringing the stock indices back to flat or something like that from yesterday's close. Nasdaq 100 obviously firm. Euros playing down. Dollar strong. All the basics. Nothing too exotic. What can we say about any of that? Let me see. I can't see any questions yet, solely because the commercial's on. There we go. Okay, so that's good. All right. So, what else can we say? I guess the best thing of all is that the markets are going to be here, there, and everywhere up until the election at this point. It is going to be here, there, and everywhere. That's pretty much the only way to describe it. The action will be wild and woolly. You've seen now that the ranges can be 1,000 points or 900 points in a day, which is not that absurd. Percentage-wise, it's what was that 1.5%, 1.75%, things like that. So that's not the world coming to an end. That's not a 25% drop. It's just that I guess old habits are hard to die. And people are used to, oh my God, the crash of 1987, 500 points down, that was 20 some odd points ago. Yo, Robin.
Are we done?
Nope, one to go. Um,
Okay, the beach show had to go to. He was due on the 18th to pay. I keep writing him a note when I send it out. I send it out today.
okay,
You know today.
let's see. There we go.
You need to know when you're going to close.
Right. I'm on the middle of the webinar right now. So
Oh,
I'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye. So anyway, that's what it really comes down to. Is it's really hard for old habits to die. I guess I think that's the best way to describe it. Like I said, the crash of '87. Oh my God, X amount of numbers, so forth and so on, and so that really makes it hard. People see 800 points and they think, oh my God, this is a crash. And it's like, guess what? The Dow was at like 2,400 points. Now it's at like 28,000. So whole different area there. But like I said, old habits are hard to break, and so people see the idea of something like 300 or 400 points. It's close to what the crash of '87 was, 500 points. It's like, no. I remember when Ronald Reagan was shot. I was on the floor, and the Dow dropped 29 points or 30, and it was a rock and roll. I think at the time the Dow might have been at 800 or 850 or 900, something like that. That was it. Yeah, I mean, we're trading now the Dow Jones Industrial Average in the 28,000 area. Back then, it was trading at a 800 area, and it dropped 30 points. And so, the media gets kind of, I guess, hogtied. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Kind of like hogtied to this action, and they get excited. And oh my God, it's done this, and oh my, what do we do? Is this the beginning of the end of the world? It's like, guess what? No, it's not the end of the world. It's just normal trading. And in these times when we've lost, remember, you won't remember because you weren't around, most of you back then, but volume was growing every year. There's the amount of participation in the marketplace was expanding constantly. We were, every 2 or 3 months we were breaking a new record of volume. Now, volume has been down. They've tried a couple tricks like allowing black pools to basically execute orders and not legally legally to disseminate them. That's the key word there, disseminate. In other words, if you're a public trading company like Apple or Tesla, in other words, you're a public company, you're supposed to disseminate. The trades are supposed to be disseminated instantly on any listed exchange. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be disseminated. In other words, put up on the tape so you can see that the 1,000 shares or 5,000 shares or 50,000 shares traded at whatever price. They didn't change the laws. They just stopped paying attention. It's the weirdest thing. They just stopped paying attention altogether, and that's because of the decrease in volume. That's what did that. So what we're seeing now is, you see a media that's behind the curve. We have a very slow, old, functioning media that's not very good anymore, and they barely, can tell you what time of day it is, let alone what's actually happening. And so you get this excitement, and it's okay. It's just what it is, but it's not really as informative as you think it should be. At least I know it isn't. Hence, I do Dukascopy compared to a top step or something like that. And because Dukascopy likes the idea of actually having real information disseminated, whereas some of these other things, they can't handle somebody that can say the truth. They can't handle the truth. I haven't been on like the CNBC in decades. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to know the truth. All they want to know is, as long as it stays with the national narrative, whatever that is, that's what they want. Same thing as Bloomberg. So, and that's where we're at. So now let's go. No one's asking any questions, so let's go march through the different products and see where they are. And you can see right off, we are looking at the euro up on our J4, up on our Chicago Quant, and then let's go to the euro on J4X. Let's put it up there, right there. You can see trading at 117.50s bid for, 50s offered, 49s bid for, 50s offered. Nice tight market, only 1 or 2 pips. Very tight market. You can see the pressure is on that. You can see the white line is below the dashed line, which is always an indicating of weakness, and the dotted line moving down. They're all showing the weakness. And then you can see here over on our work here, we've been in a daily sell for, what is that now? That's line 14. That's 4 days now. Daily sell, 1 week in a daily sell. And we're seeing a little pressure there on the downside. And that is what it is. Now, let's see. What else can we say about that? I guess that's about it. No, there's no, I don't see any questions. So we can march along to the next product unless there's a question out there. Does anybody have a question? Guess not. All right, then we shall march over to the cable. Hi ho, hi ho. Here we go. And there it is there. There's the cable. Let's put that up. And that's the British pound against the dollar right there. Now that has been battling a little bit. It's trying to do something positive. It hasn't gotten there yet. You can see that is 2 weeks in a sell and 1 day in a sell. So it's pushing down too through this line here. And over on Chicago Quant, if we can figure out where our mouse got to, there it is. Let's see what it looks like there. You see that? It's fallen into the cell. Let's grab one of these cells and put it in there like that. There we are. I guess we could steal this buy and move that buy over too, like that. Oh, I see. The buy was up top. Let's get rid of that. There we are. And move it down. Down, 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 down. There we are. And that's about it. Now, anybody that follows our math here knows that because of the red and the green that day, but the histogram and the white is up, means that when this one opens, you can buy it in the first half hour, as long as the histogram is going up and the white line is going up, and there's a green dot or no dot, one or the other. You can buy it. You can obviously move that over to that in a sense, or if it could be moved in the dead center, would be really cute, but it doesn't allow that. So we just leave it right there. But that's where that is back then, because it's, as always in trading, it's not. It's always, what have you done for me lately? That's what it really comes down to. Okay. Let's see. No questions so far. Oh, there's a question. Middle-aged muscle. I like that. Middle-aged muscle. That's a goodie. I love it. I've been enjoying the free trial on your system. It's called Gold and Silver Perfectly. I'm still testing it with my style of trading. Nice, Craig. I think that's good. Paper trading, back testing. That's the sport of every trader, and it should be. It's. I think I even mentioned it in a webinar. It's like when you're an athlete and you're training, and you exercise, and and then like in other words, if you're a Premier League, they don't just show up on Saturday to play, or Sunday. They Do they play on Sunday? I think they play on Sunday too, Premier Leagues. Or is that sometimes like a derby thing or some type of contest thing? But or I know or the Wednesday night things where they do the cup thing, you know. But in the end result is they don't just show up on Wednesdays and Saturdays. They show up every day to practice, even if it's studying something, exercising, healing something, you know, in a whirlpool and so forth. So yes, without a doubt, middle-aged muscle, you will always back test. You should never walk away from back testing, and I never walk away from it. I'm always doing it. Always doing it. And thank you for the compliment. All right. Let's see. Where are we at here? And if you have anything you'd like to look at, we can I can explain to you. Let me know. We can do it right here, right now, because a lot of traders like to, ask questions about how the system works. How do we read that? And there's Turkish lira too. We're going to put that up. It looks like it's doing another all-time high. All-time high again, Turkish lira. I guess that's what the country wants is all-time highs. And so there's the all-time high now of 766.91. Just inches its way up. That's all it's doing is just inching its way up. It seems like nothing can stop it. Even when it gets slow and steady, it finds a way to slowly fall apart again. And that is a surprise. And you can see the product is trying to, it's trying to top out a little bit in there, and it probably will, to go a little sideways. Some profit taking will go on, and then it'll start marching again. We're just afraid that we're going to see the 12s and 14s. Not only are we going to see the 8s, I'm afraid we're going to see those too. It may take, a year and a half, but it surely looks like it wants to just keep on marching. All right. What else can we say about this? I guess nothing more. Oh, yeah, I guess we can pat ourselves on the back. The math has been in a weekly buy now for 20-something, is it? Where's it at? There it is right there. 42 weeks. I mean, is this thing going to go to the Christmas or end of year or whatever? Hanukkah, whatever you want to call it. Kwanzaa, all the way to the end of the year here. I mean, when's Ramadan? I'll have to check and see. Is it going to go all the way to those points? I mean, this thing just keeps on climbing. It just doesn't, we can't get into a weekly sell. New moon in Japan and China. Lunar New Year. Is it going all the way to that point? What's going to go on with this thing? Will it ever stop? All right. Oh, can you see it on here? We didn't do that. Let's do that. Let's move that out of the way. You can see it's curving down a little bit. See what it's doing here. It's still riding up. But we are. You can see the histogram has dropped underneath the time manifold there. There's some little weakness. We see this line breaking down. But this thing, look at this. It's like, it just repels itself away from the time manifold. Look at that. Look how far the distance of it. It just refuses to even remotely think like, maybe we'll go check out like a couple of weeks of selling. Let's do a couple of weeks of selling. All right, let's take a look at Canadian. And you see there a couple days in the buy. You see it's climbed over the weekly. So it's trying to get into the weekly buy this week. And let's take a look at it here. Right there. Pushing, pushing, and pushing. It is. It's marching up. So, what else can we say about the Canadian? I saw they arrested a woman who had sent poison to President Trump. What's up with these people? They're the ones that claim they don't like fascists. Why do they keep on doing fascist things? I don't understand. All right. So there it is there. Trying to do some stuff. what's that, Canadian? We're looking at 10 weeks in a sell, 2 days in a buy. So maybe it's going to turn up. It's had a nice move on the downside. Let's look at that a little bit closer. So we went into the sell here in the, what is that? The 135 area, 135.70s area, 136 area. And we fell down to, the low was 130 basically, 129.94. So it was a 6. So it's like a 6 handle drop. That's not too bad. 600 pips. And we went in and out, you know, going to buys and sells, and nothing goes in a straight line. All right. What else can we look at here? I guess that's about it on the Canadian. We can take a look at, you know, the Swiss has been a really good product to use as an alternative. You know, in other words, if you're going to play a pairs trade, boy, I think the Swiss really functions super, super well about being long or short dollars. And let's go there. There it is. It's popping up. And that is line. Yeah, that's right. It closed in a weekly buy last week. And it's 2 days in a buy, too. So it's been marching up. Let's find it. There we go. And we went into the buy there. We went to the week there. It's doing its march. Like I said, it is a really good alternative, you know, product to trade. It's not an alternative as much as it's just a really good product to trade. If you're bullish on dollars, then you buy Swiss, and if you're bearish on dollars, you sell Swiss. I think that's the best way to describe that. It is a good product. I guess in many ways, with quantitative easing, the Swiss and the American dollar are probably the two products best to be involved in. And then the rest kind of dance to the issues. They're pretty fiscally responsible there in Switzerland. They have a long track record of being a good banking community. So, to me, I guess that's like, you know, it says something. You know, it says something positive in this era, without a doubt. All right. Where do we go from here? Nobody wants to see anything? Anything? Just fire a product out. We'll put it up for the fun of it. Yesterday was kind of cool. Someone put up, what was that? Well, we're in the Swiss. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if we can find it here. It's probably at the very bottom because it's new. There it is. Swiss yen. Let's look at that. That was kind of neat. Not sure why it's pink. Oh, I know it is. Cancel. It did go into the sell there, but it should not be all the way up. That's it, like that. There you go. And so that's kind of neat. You know, we adjusted all this live on the website. You know, not the website, on the webinar right here, and showed you how we fill these things in. You know, just seeing the white line going through the zero line there and a black histogram, put it into a buy, and then we put a little green dotted line there in case, you know, you didn't notice that happened, you know, that type of thing. And that's we just watch the way it does those things, you know. And you know, it just, we help try to fill it in so you can see. I mean, obviously, you can see the white line is below the zero line. You can see the histogram is below the zero line here on the weekly down at the bottom. I mean, we really don't need to have a pink thing there. It's in a sell, but we do that just to make it easier for everybody. Same thing with the daily. I mean, you can see what's up with this. That's not right. That green doesn't belong in there. That does. That does. Is that right? That could be moved over one, right? Yeah, like that. And that's a sell, buy, buy, buy. Sells right. Good. Let me just answer this. Just had to answer this text. There we are. Let's see. Let me do this. There we go. Okie doke. I had to answer that text. All right, so you can see here. This is pretty cool. Interesting. Never seen this. I guess we did. We must have done it somewhere along the line, but it's an interesting product. You know, the Swiss franc against the yen, and when you look at the yen, the way the yen is sliding, like right here, you see it's been sliding down too. So, just like the Swiss dollar yen is sliding down, and the Swiss yen is sliding down, which is kind of curious in its own right. You know, don't usually expect to see matching up like that. You would think they would be reversed. I don't know. At least I would. But you can see here, the product is heading down, and we are on the edge. And you know, just overall, it's one. I think it was Daniel or something like that who comes into the webinar said that it has a lot to relate to when it comes to the stock market. So then I know it is. When then we looked at the stock market of it, and it does at times. Here, I'll show you. It does correlate at times. Right there. There you go. So you got the Swiss down at the bottom here. Oil, gold, Nasdaq 100, and Bitcoin. Now you can see there are time. You know, it does trend up. So he was saying when it's rallying, the markets are rallying. When it's selling down, the markets are selling down. So it kind of tops out here. Tops out with Bitcoin for sure. Nasdaq a few days later. You know, so it is kind of trending with it. A little bit. I think it's in a more broader term. You know, month to month more than it is from day or week to week. But I thought that was interesting. Am I here alone? Can anybody just say hi or something at least? I just want to make sure, like, I can hear me. But I just feel like I'm alone here. Last man on earth. Yeah, just put it like a hi or an X or something, just to make sure that anybody's out there listening. So yeah, so that's what that is. That was kind of fascinating to see that. And we'll keep an eye on it over time, just to see how it does. It would be nice, I guess, if this was really bottoming out. Now you can see here on the Nasdaq, we are trying to bottom out right in here on the daily at the moment. Let me just refresh this. Yeah, so I got a red and green dot, and it's trying to lift up. All right. Let's see. What else can we do? Let's jump back to the Forex right there. Usually, you know, we start to drift over to the commodities at this point. You know, look at the oils and so forth. So let's just take a quick peek what is going really on in that arena. I mean, oil looked like it was ready to take off on Friday. We went into a weekly buy. Let's just show you. Right there. You know, we went into the weekly buy, and then news got wild and woolly, and they knocked it down yesterday. Brought it back a little bit. Today they were trying to lift it up again, but you can see here now the white line has broken here. The weekly has not, of course. It's starting to flirt with the time manifold, of course, but we'll see how the rest of this week plays out before we worry about it. You know, like I said, it was guns blazing, be long, and we were wrong. That's the only way to describe that one. Be long, and we were wrong. And so that's very rare to see that happen. But we know what will happen with this is we'll get a signal that will clean that loss up, and it'll become a plus. It always does. So there's Grand Central Station this morning. Hey, cowboy, what's shaking?
Hey, what up, man?
Is it working? The new system working?
I'm not working. No, not really. No, I tried to do it by it, didn't do it. But I'm way up. I'm up like $8,000 today.
Nice. Let me do this. Let me give you a call back. I am on the webinar. There we go. All right. So let's see, where are we at now? So yeah, the oil, we got a weekly buy and a daily buy, and that's at 8.5 out of 10. We were wrong. It happens once in a while, and it tried to come back fairly well, yesterday. You can see it's showing its weakness again today, and you can see the lines. Oh, speak Spanish. ¿Qué pasa? Okay. See, I think I have about a vocabulary of about 20 words. Great. So there it is for oil. But Gerald, I'll try. I'll take things slow and steady. Try to use the translator if you need it. And that's all we can say about that is we were long and we were wrong. And where are we on that? Let's take a look at it on the fact check spreadsheet. Earl, line 5. 1 week in a buy, 5 days in a buy. Oops. That's what happens. But we can't hide it. Denial. Is that like denial? Let's check that out. Let me go check that out. Find out what that word is. A lot of times I can recognize words in Spanish. Adjective. Okay. Friendly. Cheerful. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. I am. I'm always happy and cheerful. My mother used to say it's better to laugh than to cry. That's the way I look at things. Let me go back. I am getting pulled in every direction, all over the bloody place. Let's see. After webinar, what time is it now? In 28 minutes, 29 minutes. Minds, not minds, minutes. There we are. There we go. Okay. So, I try to be cheery. I try to be positive. I try to be factual. I think that's the most important thing of all. I think that when we're wrong, we'll tell you. No, we won't tell you. We'll show you, and we'll, see what the issue is. And we also know that, for doing this for almost 40 years, that's 40 years. We know it'll bounce back and do the right thing again. I did not understand. Okay. Well, what am I, let's see. I am cheerful? That's what you were saying? Yeah, no, maybe. We'll take it slow. Would you like to see a product? Math kind of speaks the international language, Any particular currency or commodity you'd like to look at? I think I'll slide over to copper. That's been torturing the daylights out of me, too. This right here was really irritating. All our work is going down. This thing is trying to climb up. Well, it was all right here. But finally, that drove me crazy, that little hump there. I finally got into a buy. Then when it was a sell again, then it took a little fight to get back into the buy. I think it moved over one like that. I think that's what it was. Right there. Let's just see. It was irritating, though. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So, it has been, there's another one that's been giving us some issues. Spanish, please. K. C. See, Spanish. See. Like I said, I have a vocabulary of about 20. Let's see. What's the number 20 in Spanish? I don't know. So, let me see if I can get this translator going. Translator. I used to have that up on the top, and times changed. I see. Is it trading? Let me find the translator. Translator. All right, that's a good one. Jumps right up. Spanish to English. Let's see. Enter text and a translation. Let's try that. All right. Math works best. You know what I might need to do is I might need to do it open over here, and then I can do it. Less mathematicus funicum majuro. Math works best. Does that make any sense? Okay. See? Let's see. What's the word for chart? Chart. Graphico? Graphico. Graphico. Let's see. Q Graphico. Q Graphico. There you go. Thank you, Google Translator. So there's a copper. And let's see, any other product. How about let's look at Silverado. I wonder what this, or gold. Let's see what gold is. Oro. OR. 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 Let's see, Graphico OR. How's that? Yeah, let's do that. Graphico OR. There we are. Does that help out? See? There you go, gold. In a cell. What's the word for cell? Vendor. Vendor. I'm not sure. Corta. Corto. Cortua. Is the market masculine or feminine? Corto. So it's corto right now. Let's see, a weekly corto. Let's try that. Where's it on that? Right there. Corta seminal. 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 Corta seminal. There you go. That's where we are with gold. Corta seminal. It's a short. From there. Who's pasturing? Can I never be free? Let's see. There we are. All right, I don't see any more chit chat. Let's see. Let's try this one. Todo bem? All okay? Tudo bem. Todo bem. Tudo bem? Graphica? There you go. Alright, now let's take a look at silver. That was an interesting punch yesterday. Corta Grafico. Corta Grafico again? Yeah. So, the short. Let's see. Short silver. Comercio Corto. Comercio Corta. Short trade. How's that? You see here, been in a weekly sell. What's that? Seminole? Corta Seminole. 4. And now this is the 4th week. 4 Seminole. 4. Uno, cuatro, something or another, something or another. All right. Hope that's helping out. What else can we say about any of that stuff? What's this from Princeton? Okay. Now, what other products can we get involved in? Don't see any more questions. Okay. All right. Where'd we go from here? We did crude, we did gold, and we did oil. And we did copper. Let's look at natural gas. What an interesting pop that was yesterday. Looks like it's trying to push back into the Corta on the short again. We'll see. Weekly's been strong for weeks. Been climbing up. Went into the little sell here, but you don't need to be short unless you're in an option spread. But after that, it seemed a-okay. What else do we have here? I don't see anything in particular. I thought the bounce was interesting. Could be an A, B, C. 3-wave heading down to here, maybe. Interesting how it found support in that area there. Usually works that way. And this thing can be very consistent. Natural gas. Went into the buy here. Where'd it go into the buy? Right there. So went into the buy here. You can see the strength in it there. Through some daily sells, led us to the weekly sell a couple weeks later. And then when it tried to go into a buy, you can see it's bouncing up, but no real life in it. And then went back into the sell again and drove itself down. So that's pretty much the picture of the product itself. See? Okay. All right, now, what else can we take a look at? We've done all these grains. Would you like to see there's palladium. Palladium's trying to go into a sell. It's been in a sell on a daily, and look at it, it's been flipping up on us more than anything else. I mean, it went into the sell here, and it's jumped up, not down. So it's long and wrong. Oh, it's a short and wrong. And then we went into a buy, go into the sell, go sideways. It tries to catch a little of this pop there, or keep you out of the trouble, out of some of this gap. That's about it. It's been a real sloppy product to watch. Look at the 4 weeks where it goes buy, sell, buy, sell. Just hideous. I mean, at least it keeps you honest. Here, it doesn't let you be short throughout that move from 24 from 21. That's good. It keeps on going in and out. Now, we're following also platinum. Platinum is a little bit more functional, I'd like to say. Here's your daily sell. It went down. It's been in a weekly sell for a bunch of weeks there. Went into the buy. It whipsawed you, but kept you in the buy, which was really weird. From 1,000 to 900, $100 move, and you're still in the long. Obviously, it went into the daily long at 850, so it's not that bad. But it wasn't a weekly until in here somewhere, possibly like right there, and then it brings it back right down to where it went into the buy, and then keeps on lifting up and gives you gives back what you gave up, and that seems to be the recipe of all of it at this point in time. All right. Any other questions? I'm just going to keep on searching around. Looking at different products here. I'll just keep on rolling with the homies. Rolling with the homies. And nibbling on peanuts. All right. How about lumber? Want to see some action in lumber? That was pretty wild. Thing went up to over $800 a board foot, and then we went into a sell here. It still climbed up. Couldn't get into the buy because it was a red and a green, and kept on sliding down. And then went into the buy here, and had a nice run there, and went back into the sell there. Let's put that sell in. It's had a nice little slide there. That's kind of interesting. That's a wild and woolly product. That's the November contract. Let's see what is it the January contract? Yeah, January right there. Pretty much the same type of action. Interesting. Just an interesting move overall. Now that went up into the 7s, I guess, right? Not the 8s. Let's see. That went up to 760. So, it's been, I guess housing is in demand. I guess with low rates here in the States, housing must be in demand. I guess that's the best way to look at it. The pressure is on. I guess there's not much to be said about that in the sense of, when we look at the mortgage rates and we look at the, assets. I mean, what did I hear? I heard something really wild this morning on one of the financial networks that said if they go to lockdown again, they will go into a full-blown recession, which I already thought they were in Europe. Or did they say depression? Either one, it's ugly. And that does seem to be the recipe of it all. Is that they can't really afford to really. I guess they need to do the herd. What do you call that? Herd. When you don't lock yourselves in and everybody's around each other. Sometimes these viruses have a habit of develop a herd immunity. That's it, creating a herd immunity, and that's really important, And it seems like the last thing they need is them shutting down any of these countries again. I mean, it's just not conducive. That's the problem. It just doesn't help out, and economically, it drives everybody crazy. So I would say, if anything else, you can see is that the lumber seemed to represent that for a while. How they drove it that high up, obviously, is because there's no other place to go when it comes to investing. I think that's what the weirdest part of all this is there just isn't any room to go to other places to invest. They're just not, it just isn't, and that's very strange. And that's where I guess we leave it off from there. When you look at these, like the crude contract, not the crude contract. I'm sorry, the lumber contract. It just goes through the roof. Now we understand over in the grains. Let's see if we can find the grains. I don't think I have the grains up, but let's put some grains up there too, since no one's asking questions. Over in the grains, you can see, there's a demand, for food. And so we're seeing a lot more pressure on the grains. I mean, soybeans are, it's rare to see them this high up this time of the year. Usually it's they start to back off a little bit in here. By September they start to, late August. August they start to back off. In this case here, there's feeders, but here is November beans. I mean, they've moved up, trying to move up to, I guess it must be in $50 increments. So it's moved up to $10.46 or $1,046 a bushel, And corn has been the same way, right there in December. Corn, moved up to the 70 area, basically from the $3 area. Let's see if we can show you that. And it came from the $3 area in the summertime. I guess not. No, they never did. Okay, so that was like the September contract went down to $3. And then the wheat, same thing. It's moved up into the what is that? The $6 area. Is that 6 or 5? It's a $5 area. Okay, so they've moved up to 560, 580. I'm sorry, 580. And so they keep on moving a lot of these products up. The grains themselves, they keep on showing lots of life in them. They don't seem to be running away from each other. All right. What else can we look at here? We can go over and look at the stock indices. See what the stock indices are looking like. We'll close out these grains. And you'll see here the Nasdaq is showing life in it. It's went into a daily buy yesterday on this particular chart that we use for the service at Chicago Quant. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, yes, we put it in there today because it's red and green yesterday. And where's it at? NQs, right? Go down a little bit, right there. Okay, so today it'll be in a buy. And it's 1 week in a sell, and it was 12 days in a sell. So we've been in a daily sell since here, watching the thing sink. Same thing with the S&P 500. It's been went into this 1 day slide, and it just kept on going. It had a hard time getting its act together. So the stock indices keep on showing weakness. From a good run, I mean, we've seen these products go to all-time highs again. So it's not the most far-fetched thing to see these products go into sells. I mean, this is the time of the year where they do that type of stuff. We'll see how long it goes on for. And we've only seen, I don't know, maybe a 3 or 4% drop, something like that, 5% drop. Nothing. Well, I guess the S&Ps have gone from 36, is it 36, 35? From 35 all-time high of 76 down to 32, almost even yesterday. Right there, you can see the low is 32.17. So that's a pretty good drop. I mean, that's like a 12% drop, something like that. Is that a 7% drop? I think it's like a 7% drop. 7% sounds about right, isn't it? So it's been a good drop. Nasdaq, same thing. We see the Nasdaq's gone from a high of 12,420 down to a low of 10,656, and that's a little bit more of a steeper drop. What is that? That's probably like 11% drop, something like that. 12% drop. Let's see. That's a even a little bit higher than that. It's in the mid-teens percentage wise. And now you can see it's trying to do a little bouncing up, and look at the weekly on this compared to the S&P. It is starting. I mean, first of all, the white line never broke the time manifold below, which is interesting. But now you've got the histogram trying to go plus in here. This thing closes up plus for the week. That's going to be wild. You can see here, same situation. Also, this was never as steep. This has been in a sell for 2 weeks, and it went down, but it's not crushing itself. You can see the widening out of the time manifold altogether, and now it's starting to go into that tight thing where it usually makes moves out of. So we are alive still, right? Let's see, which photo is that? And so that is where we're at when it comes to these stock indices. They are starting to show a little life. We've got some, I don't know, there's great concern that the Democrats are going to try to steal the, well, I mean, they're trying to steal the election. We know that part. But now that it looks like the Supreme Court is going to move back towards the Constitution a little bit more, more balanced than ever, then it looks like things won't be as bad. And so whatever happens election night will be fine. And then after that, it's just going to be probably just litigated. And since it'll probably be all illegal, it'll all be dropped and it won't matter. In the end result, things will work out much better. So I think the president will do really well election night, and I think the president and the Congress will do well election night. And then days after that, it'll all be a circus act of fake votes and illegal votes and millions of votes. They're saying as much as 40% of the votes will be illegal at this point. They'll because there's judges that are saying they can vote 3 days later. That's so weird. All right. So the stock market, it has to reflect that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why it isn't. It must. We must see some type of pressure on the market. We must see some type of concern. We must see some type of money say, I think I'll stand to the side a little bit, Just a little, you would think we would see that. So that is where we are with the stock indices. What else haven't we looked at? Let's see, what else can we look at here? Let's go into this page. And let's see what the DAX did yesterday. Now, this is the ETF here in the States. And you can see it closed in a weekly sell last week, and it's putting its pressure. Look at that big gap down yesterday. That's interesting. It's not updating it. They're not trading it, which is really weird because you would think they would be. Now let's take a look at, maybe we don't have it set for pre. Let's see if we can set it for pre. Yeah, it's on the default. Let's go with this. Pre and post markets. Let's do that. Let's just do pre-markets. That usually helps out better. Like that. Let's see if this one will do the same thing. Still not doing it. Still not updating. Now let's take a look at what the FTSE did yesterday. I think the FTSE's on here. If not there, it's over here. We can take a look at Bitcoin. I just saw Bitcoin on there too. Let's see. It's like EW something. I don't see the FTSE. Where is the FTSE on this thing? There's the Bitcoin. You can see it's rolled over yesterday with the rest of the stock market. It's really odd sometimes. You kind of think these cryptos will march in their own direction. And we've shown you on this that there's Bitcoin. And, it seems to be marching in its own direction at times. But, it breaks down. In this case here, it broke down beforehand. And then, so the cryptos, I don't know, they don't excite me as much when it comes to their predictability. I just like them as an alternative asset. And I've been saying that for a while. I really respect them as being an alternative asset. But when it comes to their predictability about, the direction they're taking, I'm not sure if there's any real insight to that action. That's the thing. I don't really see it. You can see here it plateaued. It was like an island top, and it finally broke down here. And then 2 days later, this breaks down. You know, the Nasdaq, and more than likely the S&P right behind it too. They both march together. So that's the thing that really has me. I was hoping that it would be a little bit more insightful. In other words, you would think cryptos would go up when stock markets go down. At least that's my attitude. That's the way I thought. You know, that would be the way I thought it was going to be. You know, I really didn't think it was going to be something that would march with the asset class. I was thinking that it would actually have its own direction. So in other words, but it doesn't seem like it. You know, in other words, stock market going down, you think the buyers would be roaring in and buying the cryptocurrencies. You know, saying, okay, alternative asset. That's why I keep on telling people it's not an alternative asset. It's just, it's an alternative asset, but it's not a replacement for older assets. It seems to have joined the gang. It trades like it's part of the gang now. It doesn't trade like it's has an independent mind. Matter of fact, what's really curious and odd is that in this particular case, since this is the biggest crypto that has it actually has a futures contract to it, you know, so it trades in both arenas. This thing is 30 some odd percent off its all-time highs, whereas the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 found ways to get back to their all-time highs. The cryptocurrency didn't. Now I think there's other cryptos that don't have like an ETF or a futures contract connected to it, and they have run further than the Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin seems to represent the same thing as the markets. It doesn't seem to show any unique characteristic of being independent of the marketplace itself, and that's really the biggest surprise to me. I really would have thought that money managers and so forth would be buying this stuff and it would be holding the product up, during calamity. Almost like I thought the cryptocurrencies or the cryptos were supposed to basically be like a put to the old asset class. And instead, they're joining in with them. They do the same things. They don't. They're not creative in the sense of being off. I mean, like I said, how come that is not up, and it's not even remotely close to its all-time high? That's even worse. It says to me that money doesn't have as much confidence in the cryptos as you think it does. And like I said, I'm a very big supporter of cryptocurrencies as an alternative asset. Alternative asset class, and I have no problem people, saying I'm buying, some crypto particular because, I don't like the rest of the market, but it doesn't seem like they march in the opposite direction. They all seem to, even the ones that went to all-time highs have fallen down also. So it's like they're not a put type of product. They're just part of the gang. And that's the disturbing part there. All right. Anyway, what we have to do now is we have to come up with a title of what we talked about here today. So we have to come up with something. And so we'll come up with a title. And then we will get out of here. The singing trader will dissipate into the ether. There we are. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends.